Welcome back, my little recusants, to another episode of Final Fantasy 13. We have now made it into Eden. And with the sacrifice of Roche and all the other people in Cocoon unfortunately getting the brunt of Bartanzas' scheme, we are now able to actually step forth into the realm of Eden to find the Falsy Orphan and try and stop it from being destroyed. But I've said it before, I'll say it again. This game is so pretty. Oh my goodness. But we're gonna run into a cutscene, so I'll chat after that.
Where's the cavalry? If they made it this far, we'll see him soon enough.
Not them two. They're all Seath.
And with that, we now have the title card for Orphan's Cradle, the Nascent Throne.
This is it. A lot of dreams died to get us here. And we can't let it be for nothing.
You said it. It's not just our future we're fighting for.
We'll do it for everyone. Falsy rule ends here.
Tisley, we're coming for you!
So one thing to note about here is an excellent spot to grind money. And in this particular state, it is very good to grind money. We got some new shops, so we can now finally buy our different souls. We can buy some super rare items here, so like resist all elements, things like that. So like really handy accessories. And we need to buy this healer staff. I'm literally like, why or how did we not come across this earlier? But it's a handy way to just check that we have all of the different weapons is by looking in that shop's inventory. Now, if we go along and we destroy all these different sacrifices, we're actually able to grind out these monsters for perfumes or scarletites, but we're mainly after perfume for Gil. But as you can see, it can be quite difficult because they just love to throw debuffs at you, and so many debuffs it's actually ridiculous. So as much as it might be cool to like just say, oh, we just grind these out, you really want to be getting preemptive strikes on them, because without a preemptive strike it just is a bit of a mess. But so long as you keep a synergist on hand to put up Veil, because Veil protects and gives us resistance to debuffs being applied to us, so Veil is definitely something you would want. And then it really is just unfortunately a case of pick a single target, run it down. It's a staggerable build quick, you see, so all you need is just Veil up, to be honest. And once that's there, you won't be getting debuffed as heavily, and then with you not being debuffed as heavily, you're able to kind of focus your damage, focus on the offense, and now that it's staggered really, by the time it's staggered, it goes down very quickly. So with that then, we just have to hop over to a more conservative paradigm, keep up our haste and stuff, even with getting, you know, bravery and faith there, not exactly a bad thing to have. And what's unfortunate is we just keep getting death. And what is awkward is that unless you get a particular accessory that can help you resist the death animation or your death status, unfortunately you could literally just drop in the middle of grinding. Now you only have to retry the one fight, it's not that bad, but it's unfortunately the case where if you're not kind of debuffed against it, your grinding can be cut very short by just an uncomfortable or awkward death triggering in the middle of the fight on your party leader, and then it's like game over. But as I said, if you get some debuffs on them and then keep yourself topped up HP wise and buffed with Veil, should be very straightforward. But what you want actually is the collector's catalogue and not the connoisseur's catalogue, because the perfume is actually their easy drop. So you want them to more than likely drop regular items and not rare items. So you actually want to take off the connoisseur catalogue when dealing with this. Now, we're going to be looking through some different bits of equipment. And here's where, you know, I kind of look along, I do some purchasing. And what we basically want to do is just try and get as many weapons as we can for now, leveled up to level 2. Because once we get all of them to tier 2, we just have to pick one weapon for each of the characters to make tier 3. And that's all the weapons complete, in inverted commas. Because the game only counts, did you own weapon A, B, C, X, Y, Z? And when it comes to the tier 3 weapons, all of the tier 3 weapons share the same name. So you just need to get lightning, one omega weapon or ultimate weapon, whatever it's called. I think it's, yeah, the ultimate weapon. Should be, would be, maybe. But once you have an ultimate weapon, it does not require you to then go and make 5 more of the different weapons being a tier 3. Unless you want the flexibility. But as I say, all characters basically have a strength orientated weapon, magic orientated weapon with no ability, balanced. And then you have one for each of the characters' primary roles. So you have like a commando special ability, sword, which for lightning is her axis blade, ATB charge on attack. You then have the quick stagger. Again, stagger is all about the Ravenger, so that's her Ravenger sword. And then you basically have the Lifesaber, which is her medic sword. So realistically, all the different characters have those 6, I should say, templates, basically. You've Hope with the Synergist ability, Boomerang. You have him with the does he have a medic one? He has a Ravenger one. And he has Stifled Magic. Do you know what? Maybe I'm just wrong. But the bottom line is you just have to get all 6 weapons to tier 2. That's the summary, really.
like a gate to Grand Pulse.
A last gift from Bartandalus?
If we're gonna run away, now's our chance.
So, guys, which way we going?
So yeah, with the conjuring of these different portals, this is basically the game saying, do you want to go back and grind? Because we're going to enter some serious stuff right now. And so one portal leads back to Eden Hall, which is basically like Cocoon area. The other one leads back to the Pulse area over beyond there. And then, yeah, we just have a portal that won't activate, but we basically have to explore through Orphan's Cradle, go through a couple of different things. So while we can in the post game come back to this area, the sacrifices are much more difficult to respawn on this side of things, purely because we're going to have to either go to Cocoon, go to Pulse, or what have you. Whereas for this particular one, when we're looking at it, the bottom line is, alright, we can basically run down a little corridor, run back, and they're respawned. So it's just a lot quicker. But having said all of that, you can also just fight the couple of sacrifices here, and then save your game, reload the save. The Steam version is pretty quick on the menuing, so it's not as if this isn't a forever option. But some guides do recommend just get 5 million gil, because that's what you need to basically upgrade everything. But like, we've been upgrading slowly but surely and doing a good bit of grinding where we've been getting mechanical parts and stuff, so you mightn't need that high a sum. But we do have a case where we are going to have to do a lot of grinding for crystal points and a lot of grinding for money just to get these 2 trophies for maxing out the Crystarium, which is nowhere near the same challenge as maxing out the Sphere Grid. So like, if I could do that, I can do this, you know what I mean? The only other thing that's a little frustrating is just, it's basically getting 5 stars on all of these different Seatstone missions. But the game does give you the gold stopwatch, or gold pocket watch, gold watch. Why am I adding extra like qualifiers to it? It's called the gold watch, and it allows you to have an extended target time, which basically means you're realistically going to more than likely get 5 stars on most things. And especially when we're going to be doing an exploit in the next episode to get ourselves a boatload of crystal points. We're going to basically max out our Crystarium as it is now, get all of the characters, all of their paradigms to as high a level as they can, and then what we're going to do is we're going to cap out our crystal point experience. So you can hold like 909, 909, 909 Crystarium points. Okay? And basically we're gonna collect all the crystal points we can to max out everyone's stuff. But here you can see that's how quick you can respawn all these. You just run down and run back. And what's unfortunate is, once you go a bit further beyond, the whole map changes configuration, so you're not able to run down that little hill. And what I'm getting frustrated at is that Perfume is actually the common drop for these enemies. But because we have a connoisseur catalogue, we've ended up getting more rare drops than common drops. So, super duper frustrating. But as I say, you can see me here, it's like we're paying 15k per little level up in all these secondary roles. But what we're basically going to do is where, and I'll show it in the next episode, but just to give you like a little bit of an enticement to watch the next one, we basically come across areas that are just chock full of super bosses, and you can very quickly respawn these super bosses. And while I was struggling in the beginning, just if you get the right strategy, they're really quick to defeat. And with a growth egg, they give 64,000 EXP. So with an average runtime with these fights being about 1 minute, we're able to literally go, hit up the boss, get 64,000, run back. The running back is nearly a minute as well. So within a 2-minute loop, you're getting 64,000. So in 10 fights, you're nearly at max. And then another 5. So within 15 fights, you've maxed out the amount of crystal points you can have in general. Whereas once you do that once, super handy. And then, so yeah, I maybe spent about 2 hours running through this. But this unfortunately is just to show not all of these things are created equal. But what I'm very annoyed at myself about is that I just did not trust myself in just spamming Runga. Once you can keep them in the air, these enemies really don't pose that much of a threat. So it's just the case of using your tier 3 magic. But I kept on just getting afraid, and then I was like, oh, I better like use auto battle instead of just casting Rungas when they're all clumped together. So I'm not exactly doing this the best showing in the world. And like, they're so heavily buffed as well, and I just wasn't putting on debuffs. I wasn't putting on... Yeah, these guys are just tricky. They're really, really tricky little enemies to fight, and they're just so tanky, and yet so... they're just so annoying to fight. So I will be like cutting out an awful lot of these, but like this one is kind of really unavoidable. Like, it's really tricky to like get through it unscathed. So I'm here now just thinking, okay, let's just elude them. And even with like elude up, I'm only dodging some because they just attack so bloody often. But Vanille getting up Protectra, really good. And now we're gonna hop back on the offensive, guys. Let's do it. But now that they have like no buffs, they're a little bit easier to handle. Let's just hope they don't spritz themselves up again. But as I say, without their buffs, it's a lot easier to just deal with them. And once there's only 3, you can nearly interrupt all of them, because in a Cerberus paradigm, they will all attack a different target. But as you can see, all I needed to do was just keep them popped with Rugas. They would have all been bouncing up and down on the thing and not taking any damage. So I made it way more difficult than I needed it to be honest. But however, and like what I'm also annoyed at is that, you know, I didn't have a guide, so I didn't know what the different treasure chests were. So I was realistically needlessly running to get these particular treasures because, spoiler, they aren't that great. Like, they're just sort of, like, they're fine. But they're not like, as in, I was really worried, like, oh, I saw a treasure chest over there. What if it's something like really cool? And then like completely meandering over. Whereas I could have just ran straight to that thing, straight to, you know, ran past everything and just blitzed along. Because, yeah, we're at the point in this game now where we do not need to do fights, okay? We just don't need to do them. We're just going to beeline straight for the Orphan's Cradle. And when we get to the particular area where we are going to take our time and try and max out our EXP, like, just do it there. We don't need to be fighting. Definitely not those fish freaks. We don't need to go near them at all. So we just did a quick save. And now we're going to be teleported away. Everything's going crazy and reorganizing itself. And that's what I mean. It now no longer connects back to the cathedral. And when all of this gets reset around, the cathedral's not going to have that little hill up and hill down. So that's not the greatest.
Destroyed? Fal'Cie be destroyed?
We'll actually look at this one purely because it's actually quite an tricky fight.
Thank you.
Because we're going to have to balance dealing with the motorbike, which is a lot of damage, versus the debuffing
Thanks.
sacrifice. So keep Elude on Lightning, she'll avoid most attacks. And then so long as you get Veil on,
Thank you.
the sacrifice won't be able to harm us too badly. And then we hop over to Ravager just to completely take on the sacrifice and make it stagger really quickly, avoiding death like a pro. And come on, we have to like time our different 3 Ravengers so that we're getting turns in between. And thanks to Vigilance there, Vigilance kept us on our feet, kept us attacking. And now that it's staggered, we just Cerberus, so at least 2 of the commandos are targeting 1. Hop over to our discretion, get us all cured up, and then we're gonna just take out that sacrifice and then focus on the motorbike. But yeah, it's just pivoting between triple commando and triple Ravager, since we're all buffed up and we don't really need to put debuffs on him, because once we get him in the air and juggled, we'll be fine. So as I say, he's now charging his mega attack, and now that he is staggered, we can just interrupt him super easily, like he's just getting rocked sideways. A trip back to try Disaster just to amplify the stagger by a couple of 100%. So now we're getting 600% bonus damage and the bonus damage from all commandos, so the health bar is melting, guys and gals. So with that done, we're going to power on through. But as I said before, we realistically don't need to go for all these different treasure chests, and we don't need to be going for these combats. We can skip through them, we can try and avoid them as much as possible. It is just getting to a particular area that's going to be our grinding spot to max out our XP, and then once our XP is maxed, it's just running straight to the final boss and unlocking that post game. So what I was hoping to just give you guys context, we're going to unlock the post game. When we unlock the post game, then we're going to be doing a tidy up on all the seed stones, and I'm just going to do the seed stones. I'm not going to worry about like I'm not going to worry about 5-starring them, because when you get to the very end of all the seed stones, you get the gold watch, which then allows you to extend the target time, making it much easier to get by and get the 5 stars. And like, getting a platinum is hard enough. I am literally not going to be like that kind of guy that's like, oh well, you know, I'm not going to tell you guys about the thing that makes this thing that you're trying to challenge yourself in doing way more difficult. It's like, no, if you guys should follow along, we'll just collect the gold watch, and once we get the gold watch, it'll be so much simpler. just like I was saying, yeah, I could just tell you guys about all these grind spots, but not tell you about the Neochu fight, and not tell you on the fact that you can get the growth egg way earlier and make the grind for CP much less, literally take half the time when you get to here. I could do all of that, but it's like, no, if I can give you a way that makes things easier to do and less hassle, I'm going to try and structure my guides and my advice to kind of flow in that particular direction. So I'm not here to try and like flex and say, no, I'm able to get 5 stars without the gold watch in chapter 11, first try, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I'm going to have to be grinding for money. I'm going to have to be getting loads of Deceptisols from the shop so we can get instant preemptive strikes and make it way easier. Now, we're teleported into a boss fight, similar to the 2 forest guys that Vanille and Saz fought. Now, they have an interesting little situation between the 2 of them. One is completely immune to physical damage. One is completely immune to magical damage. Now, I end up defeating these. These are one of the super bosses you can fight for the 64,000. There's another one that I arguably think is easier, so that's what I'm going to talk about. But you can make this pretty easy if you want to as well. What you need are the following. You need to debuff both enemies. We need to Libra Scope them first of all. Let's 100% use one of your Libra Scopes. They both heal each other. But you're not going to worry about that. Purely because, yes, they both heal each other, but when you debuff them loads, and when you get them staggered, your damage output can just completely outscale them. So you saw there, they take half damage from all the different elements. So what you need to apply to them is Imperil. Imperil and Deshell, just to make sure that basically they're taking a lot of damage and they're taking as much magical damage as possible. So we're getting our D-shells up. And for the other guy, it's the complete exact same. You want Poison, you want Deprotect, you want Imperil, just to allow the... yeah, and you see here, look, we have Imperil and D-shell on. So now it's taking normal damage instead of resistance, you know? And now with Cerberus, watch the ruin damage. You're able to really out DPS so long as you haven't staggered. Like, yes, he healed, but if you get him staggered again, which you can because he's imperiled and deshelled, it makes the stagger gauge fly up. So you can literally instantly stagger it again, and then just do another volley just to get your damage multiplier up, and then you switch over to Cerberus. And then the basic thing with the other guy that's immune to magic, it's the exact same. You just fire him up with the strikes, because he can take strike damage and build up the stagger that way. But even without, you just need to make sure Deprotect is on and Imperil is on. And like the curse is going to be great because it's like the anti-vigilance. It basically makes it really quick to hurt itself. And I mean, look, you saw me apply fog. It's going to be probably really late into battle when you get fog, but I mean, that means he can't heal the other guy, you know? But he's just because he's taking no damage, the strike spells are coming through and doing like 10,000, 17,000. So just so long as you're using strikes, he'll take damage. But now you just have your triple commando, slash away with your characters, game over. But that's going to come to an end with our episode, guys. We're going to have a quick cutscene, and then I will talk to you next time where we're going to literally make it to the end game. talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. Like if you're new, subscribe if you're new, leave a comment if you enjoyed, and I'll chat to you guys next time. Have a good one.
Where's this end?
If there is one, I can't see it.
I can't do this. All these Seath were people once. Like us.
That's what Bartandalus is going for. Don't you see? Make us feel guilty, lose faith. And the second we give up, it's focus time.
Wait till we're broken, and slip on the leash.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, having all this empathy, it puts us humans at a big disadvantage.
Maybe. But it's also what makes us dangerous.
Bang? What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. Just that time's running short.
It's okay. My mind's made up this time. We'll just make Cocoon Alpha.
Yeah. I guess we will.
Make my wish come true, let darkness slip aside, hiding all the hope, marking what we treasure.